So I've always believed in this idea of not falling into the trap of always buying the most budget stuff, the cheapest stuff, because I really do believe in this concept of if you buy cheaper now, you're actually going to be paying more for it later on. I think it's always worth spending a bit more now for something that will last and bring you a better return on your investment. But of course, it goes without saying, don't spend more than you can. The focus should be on finding a good balance on money spent and how much value it's going to bring to your life. I'm going to make some recommendations in this video, but I'm not saying you should go out and buy all the things that I use. I'm just trying to give sort of overall guidelines, try and find things that fit for you and fit within your budget. A camera. So I'm biased here primarily because I use cameras a lot, especially for recording YouTube videos. But I do also love to have a camera with me when I'm traveling. That's something that I've always enjoyed. When I'm traveling, when I'm doing stuff, I like to have a camera with me so that I can capture moments, memories, things that, you can try and remember as best as you can, but having an actual picture of it, I feel like it just makes such a big difference. However, that doesn't mean you go out and buy a dedicated camera. I actually would advise against that. Mainly because most people don't need a dedicated camera. Most people are completely fine with using the camera that is on their phone. The camera on your phone is usually good enough, but I do also think it's worth spending a bit more money on a sort of flagship device that can have a better camera in it, because pictures and stuff, once you've taken them, you can't go back and take it again. Like once you've captured those moments, I think having that moment in the best quality that you can get it, with the best camera that you can have with you, I think just makes a big difference. The return you get on cameras, whether it's making money like me or the happiness factor of being able to see memories and share those memories, I'd actually say is priceless. So personally, I have a bunch of different cameras. I'm using the Fujifilm X100VI quite a lot when I'm traveling, but I do also carry around my Sony a7C Mark II. But when I'm recording videos and stuff, I'm using like the FX3 and the ZV-E1. Yeah, I probably have a camera addiction and I'm always looking at other cameras to buy. I just love cameras. I think when you buy a camera, when you invest money into a camera, they can last years. Like my FX3, I've been using this camera ever since it was released, like 4, 5, 6 years ago now. I've been using it to make videos. That has been an incredible return on investment for me. A good desk chair. So I bang on about this a lot, but if you sit at a desk most of the day, if you have a desk job, honestly, spending the money on a high quality office chair is going to make such a big difference. You won't notice it at first. It's not something you'll notice, especially if you're young, but later on in life, as you age, a proper high quality desk chair will make a huge difference. Please do not buy one of those typical gaming chairs. One of those gaming chairs that looks like a race car seat. It doesn't make any sense to me. Those chairs are not designed to be ergonomic whatsoever. They will just catch up to you later in life. I feel like those sorts of chairs are just going to cause back issues. I personally have the Herman Miller Aeron. It is probably the #1 office chair for ergonomics. This is also an expensive chair, no doubt about it. It's around $1,000 new. However, something that I don't think a lot of people realize is that you can pick up one of these chairs for a couple $100s if you look at places like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that. Because there are offices usually just throwing these chairs away. They'll sort of, maybe an office is shutting down or whatever, and they're just having to get rid of chairs. You can get Herman Miller Aeron chairs for a couple $100. You can save a lot of money by doing this. And these chairs are bulletproof. Like these chairs would easily last 10 years, like no problem. They're just somehow indestructible. So I like to pay for convenience. I love having wireless chargers all around my home. Places where I spend the most time, at my desk, bedroom, living room. I like to have a wireless charger so that I don't have to worry about if my phone's got battery life or not. I also recently got this new valet tray from 12 South, who are sponsoring this video. It's a super premium catch-all tray that can also charge your phone. It's made from metal and has some weight to it and also wrapped in luxurious Napa leather. You can also change the outer ring color to a different color if you like to better match your style. I have the black one and the sort of saddle brown one as well. The wireless Qi 2 charging pad is magnetic and it can provide up to 15 watts of power to something like an iPhone. There's also an additional USB-C output on the bottom which can be used to charge other devices. I also like how they've added a sort of cable management groove so that the cables look nice. It comes with a 36 watt power brick and a USB-C cable so that you can start using it right away. I personally think it looks incredible, a very premium and luxury product. Make sure to check it out. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. So the next one is a bit more technical, but it's something that can easily last for years, and that is a NAS. For those who don't know what a NAS is, it's essentially a bunch of hard drives connected together to give you a large storage pool which you can access both wirelessly wirelessly and wired. It's usually a much cheaper way to have a lot more storage than having to upgrade the storage on something like your computer or your phone. I use mine to back up old YouTube footage. I also use it to sort of host old movies, photos, and other sort of data that I don't actually always need on my computer. It's also a really good way to replace something like an iCloud subscription. If you don't want to pay for an iCloud subscription and you just want to have more control over your data, this is definitely a good way to go. However, like I said, it does require some technical knowledge to set up and stuff. I think it's fairly easy. You can usually find some tutorials online, and most NAS systems are quite easy to sort of just set up and get going. It's hard to recommend sort of one NAS system for everyone because everyone's use cases are different. I personally have a few. So the one main one that I use is a Ugreen NAS, which is completely NVMe. And I mainly use that because I can connect up my computer and sort of edit video straight off of it without having to move the content to my computer. This is quite expensive. This is a very pricey one because it has a very specific use case with the sort of Thunderbolt ports and the 10 gigabit Ethernet and it being all SSDs. Speakers. So if you're like me and you love listening to music, a good set of speakers I think are just absolutely essential. I personally like having different speakers for different setups. So on my desk I have a pair of smaller and more compact speakers that I use to listen to music whilst I'm working or watch YouTube videos. These speakers, because of their size, they are primarily designed to sort of listen to while you're sitting up close. They're not really meant to fill out a whole room. However, when I do want to sort of pump music throughout my home, I use Sonos. I've tried so many different systems, and Sonos to me, even though it is more on the premium end, it's just so worth it because all of the speakers naturally work together. Everything works wirelessly. You can set it up anywhere. It has the sort of auto tuning. The speakers I think sound really good, and it's also really easy for anyone else to use it. If I have other people come to my home or whatever and they want to use the Sonos, they can. It's just so easy to use. I also have a full Sonos surround system in my living room because again, it's all wireless and stuff. I just need to plug it in. I don't need to worry about wires sort of going this, there and the other. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually understand the appeal of Sonos until I had bought a Sonos system myself. And now that I have it, yeah, there's nothing else really right now that comes close. Next up is any M series or M chip MacBook. So in 2020, when Apple introduced the first M1 MacBook, I feel like it pretty much just changed the game. Right now, pretty much any MacBook that contains an M chip, it's just well worth the money. You don't need to get the latest M chip to benefit from the M series lineup. There are so many people still using their M1, M1 Pro, M1 Max MacBooks, no problem. Apple have actually done too good of a job with this lineup because now people aren't upgrading as often because their MacBooks are lasting half a decade, which is just crazy when you think about it. And the battery life on them is also incredible, easily lasting a day without needing to be near a power source, unless of course you're a heavy user. I have an M4 Max MacBook Pro, but only because I do video editing and 3D work. If I weren't doing that sort of work, I would be completely fine with the standard M chip MacBook Air, because that to me I think is the perfect machine. Also, with the prices of RAM just going through the roof, as I'm making this video right now, Apple haven't increased the prices of their machines. So they are really good value, which is crazy to say because most people don't really see Apple as good value, but M series lineup of MacBooks, incredible value, I think. A monitor. So if you're a regular viewer or subscriber of the channel, you'll know that I cover monitors quite often on the channel. Mainly because if you work at a desk, it's most likely what you're going to be looking at all day. I think buying a good quality monitor that is designed for the type of work you do can be a huge productivity increase. In my setup, I have the Pro Display XDR, which I bought way back in 2021 now. So it's been nearly 5 years that I've had this monitor. I actually wouldn't recommend anyone go and buy this monitor right now, primarily because Apple are expected to have an updated one this year. I think that just shows how good this monitor is because I've been using it for nearly 5 years now and I've not really had anything come along where I felt like I've needed to upgrade. Right now I feel like it's actually quite hard to recommend one monitor sort of for everyone because everyone's use case is different. Some people like 27-inch monitors, some people like 50-inch monitors, some people like ultra wides, some people like curved. I feel like everyone's use cases are very different. I also think to myself, you know, some people are looking for a gaming monitor, some people are looking for a productivity monitor. You've got to find the monitor that works for you, and I actually think that's actually a good thing, because there's lots of competition, there's loads of different sort of styles of monitors out there. You can find a monitor that sort of works for you. I just recommend doing some research, watching some reviews and stuff online, because when you buy a monitor, it should really last you half a decade, no problem. Smart light bulbs have just been a game changer for me. However, one major issue I come across with a lot of smart bulbs is the sort of color temperature of the white light. Most bulbs nowadays are really good at doing lots of different colors. If you want like red, green, blue, purple, you want the rainbow and stuff, you can get that, no problem. But a lot of bulbs actually really struggle trying to do an accurate representation of sort of 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. What I care about, and I think most people should care about, is that color temperature range. Having a good bulb that can do 2700 but can also do a good 6500. I found that Philips Hue seem to be the best when it comes to color temperature, usability and reliability. Having all those three things working together is actually quite hard to find in smart bulbs. Naturally, my lights are usually on in the evening and night, so I like to have a very warm color temperature, almost candle-like color. And I found that Hue bulbs nail this every time. They look a lot more natural rather than artificial. Hue bulbs are another example of, before I got them, I kind of just thought, I don't really see the hype, I don't understand it, they seem quite pricey. But now that I have them, I feel like I just wouldn't really pick anything else. I haven't found anything else that beats it right now. I know this channel is pretty much all about consumerism, but my aim isn't for you to go out and buy every single product that I cover, because there's so many different things to choose from. My aim is to sort of cover the latest and greatest, and then for you to make your own informed decision on what works for you, what you think is worth buying. I usually like to share products that I think are genuinely useful and provide some sort of value to people, whether it's small or big. Even though I focus primarily on sort of tech in this video, this concept can actually apply to so many different things. So like kitchen gadgets, home gadgets and stuff like that. Clothing as well. The idea is that if you spend the money intentionally, you look at things, you do your research, you look at what actually is worth the money, it should last you years. I do love the idea of sort of buy it for life. I don't think everything can last forever, but the concept of buy it for life I really do like. I like to see tech and gear as tools. They're tools that are designed to amplify your life, to make your life a bit easier in some ways. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.